What happens when the man you trust most, your husband, your pastor, your leader, is living a double life? In Lagos, Pastor David was a man of God, admired by many people. His wife, Rebecca, stood by his side, proud of his mission work in Colombia. But beneath the surface of their perfect life lay a web of lies, betrayal, and stolen millions. When Rebecca discovers strange bank transfers and a mysterious phone call, her world unravels. What she uncovers will shock the church, destroy her marriage, and expose a scandal that reaches across continents. Can she find the courage to confront the truth, even if it means losing everything? The truth is coming, and this time, not even Pastor David can pray it away. In Lagos, there lived a man everyone called Pastor David. He wasn't just any pastor. He was the youth pastor at Greatest Faith Assembly, one of the biggest churches in the city. His wife, Rebecca, was known for her kind heart and beautiful smile. Every Sunday morning, Pastor David would stand before the congregation, his voice full of passion as he preached the gospel. Young people loved him because he made them feel special. He would often say, "God has big plans for each of you," and the congregation would clap and shout, "Amen." Rebecca would sit in the front row, watching her husband with pride. She helped him with everything, organizing church programs, counseling young couples, and especially managing the church's mission fund. This fund was Pastor David's biggest project. "My dear brothers and sisters," Pastor David would say during mission fundraising, "God is calling us to help our brothers and sisters in South America. We need to build schools and churches for them." People trusted him completely. Every year, church members would contribute and donate lots of money for his mission trips to Colombia. Pastor David would show pictures of half-built schools and smiling children during his presentations. "Look at what God is doing through our church," he would say, pointing to the pictures on the big screen. "Every money you give helps these poor children." Rebecca never doubted her husband. He spent 3 months every year in Colombia, sending her pictures and stories of his mission work. She would share these stories with other church members, making them feel good about their donations. "My husband is a man of God," she would say to Sister Joy. "See how he sacrifices his comfort to help others." But God works in mysterious ways, and sometimes he reveals secrets in the most unexpected ways. Rebecca didn't know it yet, but her perfect world was about to crash down around her. It was a hot afternoon. Rebecca sat in her office at the church, going through the mission fund papers. Something didn't look right. She noticed strange bank transfers that didn't match the costs David had written down for building materials. "This is strange," she muttered to herself, pulling out her calculator. "Why does the same amount go out every month, even when there's no building work?" Just then, Sister Joy walked in with a cup of tea. "Rebecca, you look worried," Sister Joy said, placing the cup of tea on the desk. "What's wrong?" Rebecca shook her head. "Nothing serious, just going through the mission fund details." But deep down, something felt off. She remembered how David always got nervous when she asked about the mission fund details. Later that evening, at home, Rebecca decided to ask David about it. He was packing his clothes for his upcoming mission trip to Colombia. "David, I was looking at the mission fund today," she started. David suddenly dropped the shirt he was folding. "Why were you checking those papers?" His voice was different, almost angry. "I'm the fund's secretary, remember?" Rebecca said, surprised by his reaction. "Some numbers don't make sense." David laughed, but his laugh sounded forced. "My dear, you worry too much. Everything is fine. Trust me, I'm handling it." He walked over and kissed her forehead, then quickly changed the subject. "Have you seen my blue Bible? I need to pack it." That night, Rebecca couldn't sleep. David's reaction kept playing in her mind. In their 15 years of marriage, she had never seen him act so strange about money questions. She turned in bed, looking at David sleeping peacefully. "Maybe I'm just being paranoid," she whispered to herself. but a small voice in her head kept saying something wasn't right. The David she knew would never get upset about simple questions. He would explain everything clearly as he always did during church meetings. Rebecca closed her eyes, trying to push away the doubts. But they had already taken root in her heart, like tiny seeds waiting to grow. God, she prayed silently, if there's something I need to know, please show me. She didn't know it then, but God was about to answer her prayer in ways she never expected. One evening, while David was out of town on an official assignment, Rebecca was cleaning their bedroom when his old phone started ringing. He had forgotten to take it with him. The name on the screen was Maria Construction. "Hello?" Rebecca answered, thinking it might be about the mission buildings. A woman's voice spoke in pidgin English. "David, mi amor, why do you use different numbers?" Rebecca's heart stopped. "This is his wife. Who are you?" The line went dead. Rebecca's hands shook as she stared at the phone. "Mi amor," she whispered. "My love?" She sat on the bed, her mind racing. Opening David's old phone felt wrong, but she needed answers. The password was easy. It was their wedding date. Inside the phone, she found strange WhatsApp messages in Spanish and pictures she had never seen before. "Jesus, help me," she prayed, her fingers trembling as she scrolled. Just then, her phone rang. It was Sister Joy. "Rebecca, are you okay? You missed the evening prayer meeting." Rebecca tried to keep her voice steady. "Joy, I need you to come over to my house, now." 30 minutes later, Sister Joy sat beside Rebecca looking at the messages. "We need to translate these," Sister Joy said, holding Rebecca's hand. "My niece studied Spanish in the university. She can help." Rebecca shook her head. "I'm scared, Joy. What if David isn't who we think he is?" Sister Joy hugged her friend. "The truth might hurt, but lies hurt more. We need to know." They called Joy's niece, Grace, who agreed to come right away. As they waited, Rebecca found more things: receipts for expensive schools in Colombia, money transfers to someone named Maria Torres, and pictures of David with a woman and 2 children. When Grace arrived, she started translating the messages. With each translation, Rebecca's world crumbled more and more. This message says, "My love, the children miss you. Little David asks about his papa every day," Grace read slowly. Rebecca ran to the bathroom and threw up. Sister Joy followed her. "Why, Joy?" Rebecca cried. "All these years? Was everything a lie?" Sister Joy held her friend as she cried. "Rebecca, listen to me. God didn't show you this to destroy you. He showed you because it's time for the truth." That night, Rebecca couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about all the mission trips, all the money church members had given, all the stories David had told them. 8 years, she whispered in the dark. 8 years of lies. But this was just the beginning. Rebecca didn't know it yet, but God was giving her strength for what was coming next. Rebecca knew she needed proof. Real proof that everyone would believe. She couldn't just show people WhatsApp messages. David would find a way to explain them away. She needed something bigger. The next morning, she went to see Brother Tony, who worked at First Green Bank. "Sister Rebecca," Brother Tony said, adjusting his tie, "what brings you to my office so early?" Rebecca took a deep breath. "Brother Tony, I need to check something about the church mission account." "But Pastor David handles that account," Brother Tony said, looking confused. "I'm the fund secretary," Rebecca replied firmly, "and I think something bad is happening to the church money." Brother Tony's face changed. He opened the account on his computer. "Sister Rebecca, what I'm about to show you, it's not good," he said quietly. The computer screen showed years of transfers. Every month, large amounts of money went to Colombia, not to construction companies or mission organizations, but to personal accounts. "This account belongs to Maria Torres," Brother Tony pointed. "The transfer started 8 years ago." Rebecca's hands gripped the desk. How much? How much has gone to this account?" Brother Tony reviewed the account and said, "Over 95 million naira." Rebecca felt dizzy. That was church members' money. Poor people's money. The money is given for the work of the ministry. I need bank statements, she said. Please make it official. Sister Rebecca, are you sure about this? Brother Tony asked softly. Truth is truth, Brother Tony, even when it hurts. That evening, Rebecca sat in her living room with Sister Joy, looking at the bank statements. Look at these dates, Rebecca pointed. Every time he showed pictures of new building work, the money was going to Maria's account. Sister Joy shook her head. We need more proof. What about the schools he said they were building? Rebecca opened her laptop. I've been thinking about that. He always shows us pictures, but has anyone ever called these schools? She found the names of mission organizations working in Colombia and started sending emails. Dear Sir, she typed, I'm writing to ask about the schools built by Pastor David from Nigeria. Late that night, replies started coming in. Each one said the same thing. They had never heard of Pastor David or his building projects. Joy, Rebecca's voice shook. There are no schools, no churches, nothing. Sister Joy hugged her friend. What are you going to do? Rebecca wiped her tears. First I'm going to pray, then I'm going to Colombia. Colombia? Sister Joy's eyes widened. Alone? Not alone, Rebecca said. God will go with me, and you're coming too. Sister Joy nodded slowly. When do we leave? Next week. David thinks I'm organizing a women's conference in Abuja. We'll have 5 days to find everything. That night, Rebecca knelt beside her bed. Father, she prayed, give me strength for what's coming, and Lord, please let me be wrong about all this. But in her heart, she knew. The real storm was just beginning. The plane landed in Colombia on a sunny morning. Rebecca and Sister Joy looked like regular tourists, but their hearts were heavy with their secret mission. Where do we start? Sister Joy asked as they got into a taxi. Rebecca pulled out her phone. Maria Torres lives in Bogota. I found her address in David's old emails. The taxi drove through busy streets until it stopped near a fancy school. Rebecca's heart nearly stopped when she saw the name, St. Paul's International School. Joy, look, she pointed. This is where the mission money was going, not to build schools but to pay for expensive school fees. They waited outside the school gate. Soon, children started coming out. Then Rebecca saw 2 children who looked exactly like the pictures from David's phone. Those are his children, Rebecca whispered, her hands shaking. They have his face. A beautiful woman walked up to the children. It was Maria, the same woman from the photos. Sister Joy held Rebecca's hand tight. Be strong, sister. Rebecca walked up to them. Maria Torres? Maria turned and then her face went pale. Who are you? I'm Rebecca, David's wife from Nigeria. Maria's eyes filled with tears. She looked at her children, then back at Rebecca. Please, Maria said softly. Not here, come to my house. Maria's house was big and beautiful, paid for with church money. Inside the house, while the children played in another room, Maria told them everything. I met David 9 years ago during his first mission trip, Maria explained. He said he was divorced. We fell in love, got married here, had children. Rebecca felt sick. Married? He married you? Maria ran to her room and brought back papers, a marriage certificate from Colombia. Last year, I found out about you, Maria continued, crying. He said he couldn't leave you because of the church. He begged me to keep quiet. Sister Joy spoke up. The mission funds, the schools he said he was building? Maria looked confused. What schools? David sends us money every month for our upkeep, the children's school, this house, everything. Rebecca stood up, her legs shaking. Those poor church members, giving their hard-earned money, thinking they were helping build God's kingdom. I'm so sorry, Maria whispered. I didn't know the money came from the church. Rebecca took pictures of everything. The marriage certificate, the house documents, and school receipts. She even recorded Maria telling their story. On their way back to the hotel, Sister Joy asked, What now? Rebecca's face was stern. Now we wait for Sunday. The whole church needs to know the truth. That night, Rebecca cried herself to sleep. But these weren't just tears of sadness, they were tears of anger. David hadn't just betrayed her, he had betrayed God and his people. "No more lies," she whispered. "No more." It was a big Sunday at the Greatest Faith Assembly. The church was full because David was back from his mission trip, and everyone wanted to hear about the great work happening in Colombia. Rebecca sat in her usual front row seat, her handbag heavy with evidence. David stood at the pulpit, smiling his usual charming smile. "My beloved brothers and sisters," David began, "God is doing mighty things in Colombia." He clicked his remote and pictures appeared on the big screen, old pictures of half-built buildings that didn't exist. "Look at what your faithfulness has done," he said proudly. "Your seeds are bearing fruit." Rebecca's heart beat fast. She looked at Sister Joy, who nodded slowly. It was time. Rebecca stood up. "David, stop lying." The church went quiet. David's smile froze. "Rebecca, what are you doing?" he whispered, but the microphone caught his words. Rebecca walked to the front, pulled out her laptop, and connected it to the projector. "Church, I'm sorry, but we've all been deceived," she said, her voice shaking. "There are no schools, no churches, nothing." David tried to grab the laptop. "Rebecca, you're just tired. Let me handle this." "No more handling of anything," Rebecca shouted. 8 years is enough." She clicked, and new pictures appeared. Pictures of Maria's house, the expensive school, David's secret family. The church erupted in shock. "This is where your money went," Rebecca continued, showing the bank statements. "Not to God's work, but to support another wife and family in Colombia." David fell to his knees. "Please, Rebecca, let me explain." "Explain what?" Rebecca's voice was firm. "How you married another woman. How you stole God's money. How you made us all believe your lies." The head pastor, Pastor Emmanuel, rushed to the pulpit. "Security, lock the doors," he commanded. "Nobody leaves until we get to the bottom of this." For the next 2 hours, Rebecca showed everything. The bank transfers, Maria's testimony video, the Colombian marriage certificate, school payment receipts. Church members were crying. Some were shouting. Many had given their money to support the fake mission work. "I gave my wedding jewelry money," one sister cried out. "My children's school fees," another shouted. David sat on the floor, his head in his hands. Pastor Emmanuel took the microphone. "Brothers and sisters, what we have seen today is a great evil, but God exposed it because he loves the truth." He turned to David. "You will pay back every money you stole, every single money." Rebecca stood tall, even though her heart was breaking. "I'm sorry I didn't see it earlier," she told the church. "But God opened my eyes at the right time." As she walked out of the church that day, people hugged her, crying and thanking her for her courage. "Truth is like light," Sister Joyce said as they left. "No matter how long darkness stays, when light comes, darkness must run away." But this wasn't the end. The real storm was just beginning. The next morning, the Greatest Faith Assembly was surrounded by police cars. Someone had called the Financial Crimes Unit. "Good morning, Ma." A serious-looking financial crimes officer said to Rebecca, "I'm Officer Godwin. We need your statement about the church funds." Rebecca sat in the church office with Officer Godwin, telling him everything. She showed him all the evidence, bank statements, pictures, videos, everything. "Madam," Officer Godwin said, shaking his head, "this is serious fraud. Your husband didn't just steal from the church. He committed international fraud." Just then, they heard shouting outside. David was being brought in by other officers, handcuffs on his wrists. "Rebecca," he shouted, "tell them it's not true. Tell them I was doing God's work." Rebecca turned away, tears falling. "Stop lying, David. Just stop." Officer Godwin looked at his papers. "According to these documents, you stole over 95 million naira. That's a lot of money, sir." David fell into a chair. "I can explain everything. Save it for the court," Officer Godwin said firmly. Sister Joy came running in. "Rebecca, people from other churches are outside. They said David took their money too." Officer Godwin stood up. "What do you mean?" He went to other churches, Sister Joy explained. Told them about his mission work. They gave him money too. The officer's face got more serious. This case just got bigger. More people kept coming to the station all day. Pastor David had gone to many churches, showing the same fake pictures and telling the same lies. He told us he was building a hospital, one pastor cried. We gave him money for a children's home, another said. Rebecca watched as more and more people came. The amount of stolen money kept growing. How could you? She asked David. All these people trusted you. David just sat there, looking at the floor. I needed the money for my family. Which family? Rebecca asked bitterly. The one in Nigeria or the one in Colombia? Officer Godwin came back with more papers. Sir, you're under arrest for international fraud, money laundering, and theft. As they took David away, he looked back at Rebecca. Please forgive me. But Rebecca turned away. She had cried enough tears. Later that evening, Sister Joy found Rebecca in the church garden. The press wants to talk to you, Sister Joy said softly. Rebecca shook her head. I didn't do this for fame. I did it for the truth. But your story might help other churches, Sister Joy said. Rebecca thought about all the poor people who had given their money, believing they were helping God's work. Okay, she said finally. But first, we need to pray. The church needs healing more than it needs a story. As the sun set, Rebecca knew this was just the beginning of a long journey. But at least now, the truth is out. News about Pastor David's arrest spread like wildfire. Every newspaper in the country carried the story. People couldn't stop talking about how one pastor had fooled so many churches. But something unexpected happened. Instead of the church breaking down, it grew stronger. We need to help those who lost their money, Rebecca told the church committee. Many people gave their life savings. Pastor Emmanuel nodded. God will make a way. That Sunday, something amazing happened. Churches from all over Lagos sent representatives to the greatest faith assembly. We're here to help, said Pastor Thomas from Home Grace Chapel. The devil meant this for bad, but God will turn it for good. People started giving money to help those who had lost their savings to David's lies. Meanwhile, more news came from Colombia. Maria and her children have been struggling since David's arrest stopped the money for the upkeep. What about them? Sister Joy asked Rebecca. They're victims too. Rebecca surprised everyone with her answer. Bring them to Nigeria. What? The church members were shocked. Those children are innocent, Rebecca explained. They didn't ask for any of this, and Maria was deceived too. Some people didn't like this idea. But she's the other woman, someone shouted. Rebecca stood firm. Jesus said, love your enemies. Maria isn't even my enemy. She's another woman who was deceived by the same man. 2 weeks later, Maria and her children arrived in Nigeria. People expected drama, but instead, they saw two women hugging and crying together. I'm so sorry, Maria kept saying. It's not your fault, Rebecca replied. We were both victims. The church helped Maria find a job teaching Spanish, and her children started school in Lagos. One day, Officer Godwin called Rebecca to his office. Madam, we found more money in different accounts, he said. Your husband was clever, but not clever enough. Rebecca looked at the total amount. What will happen to the money? After the court case, it will be returned to the churches, Officer Godwin explained. That evening, during a prayer meeting, Rebecca shared the news. God is not mocked, Pastor Emmanuel said. What is done in darkness will come to light. Sister Joy hugged Rebecca. You've been so strong through all this. Rebecca smiled sadly. Not me, God has been strong for me. As they prayed, Rebecca thought about how God had turned this bad situation into something good. The church was stronger, people were helping each other, and even Maria and her children had found a new life. When God fights your battles, Rebecca whispered, He doesn't just win, He makes sure everyone learns a lesson. But there was still more to come. David's court case was about to begin, and nobody knew what new secrets would come out. The court was packed full. Everyone wanted to see the famous case of the pastor who stole mission money. Rebecca sat in the front row with Sister Joy and Pastor Emmanuel. David looked different in his prison clothes, no more designer suits or shiny shoes. His lawyer stood up first. "My client admits his mistakes," the lawyer said. "He was weak and fell into temptation." The prosecutor, Mrs. Adams, stood up next. "Weakness?" she said loudly. "Is that what we call stealing 95 million naira now? Is that what we call having 2 wives and lying to hundreds of people?" She showed the court everything: pictures, bank statements, marriage certificates. Then she called her first witness, Rebecca. "Tell us, Rebecca," Mrs. Adams said. "When did you first suspect something was wrong?" Rebecca told the whole story: the strange phone call, the bank transfers, the trip to Colombia. The court listened quietly. "And why did you decide to expose everything?" Mrs. Adams asked. "Because truth matters," Rebecca said firmly. David's lawyer tried to defend him. "My client was under pressure. He needed money for his children's education." "Which children?" Mrs. Adams asked sharply. "The ones in Nigeria or Colombia." The judge, a serious-looking woman, asked David to speak. "I'm sorry," David said, crying. "The devil pushed me." "The devil?" Mrs. Adams interrupted. "Did the devil forge bank documents? Did the devil marry 2 wives? Did the devil steal poor people's money?" More witnesses came forward: church members who had given their savings, other pastors who had trusted David. Even Maria testified in court. After 3 days, the judge was ready to give her judgment. "Pastor David," she said firmly, "you have brought shame to the church and betrayed people's trust. This court finds you guilty of fraud, money laundering, and theft." The judge looked at her papers. "You will spend 15 years in prison. All stolen money must be returned to the churches. Your properties will be sold to pay back what you stole." David fell crying. His lawyer tried to appeal, but the judge refused. As they took David away, he looked at Rebecca one last time. "I'm sorry," he whispered. Rebecca didn't answer. She just watched as they led him away. Outside the court, reporters surrounded Rebecca. "How do you feel?" they asked. "I feel peace," Rebecca said. "Truth has won." Sister Joy held her friend's hand. "It's over now," but Rebecca shook her head. "No, it's not over. Now the real work begins, helping the church heal and making sure this never happens again." As they drove back to church, Rebecca looked at the sky and smiled. God had turned her pain into purpose. 1 year had passed since David went to prison. Greatest Faith Assembly looked different now. Not just the building, but the people too. They had learned big lessons. Rebecca stood in front of the church, but not as David's wife anymore. She was now the head of the new Church Financial Protection Committee. "Brothers and sisters," she said, holding up a blue book. "This is our new financial guide. Every money that comes into the church account must be tracked, and withdrawals from our accounts must be 2 authorized signatories." Pastor Emmanuel stood up. "Sister Rebecca, tell them the other good news." Rebecca's eyes got bright. "Remember all the money David stole? The police found some of it. Starting next week, everyone who lost money will get it back." The church erupted in praise. At the back of the church, Maria sat with her children. They looked happy now. Maria was teaching Spanish in a big school, and her children were doing well. "The devil meant it for bad," Sister Joy said, "but God turned it for good." After service, some visitors came to see Rebecca. They were from a TV station. "Madam, we want to tell your story," the reporter said, "to help other churches." Rebecca thought for a moment. "Okay, but let's tell the whole story. Not just the bad parts, but how God helped us fix things." Later that evening, Rebecca sat in her office looking at old pictures. She saw one of David's preaching videos, back when everyone thought he was a holy man. "We all learned something," she whispered. "Trust is good, but checking is better." Sister Joy came in with a cup of tea. "What are you thinking about?" "Everything," Rebecca said. "How God used this bad thing to make the church stronger. Now we check everything. No more blind trust." "And what about you?" Sister Joy asked. "Are you happy now?" Rebecca smiled. "I'm at peace. God turned my pain into purpose." As they sat drinking tea, they could hear the choir practicing. The church was alive again, stronger than before. "You know what I learned from all this?" Rebecca said. "What?" Sister Joy asked. "That God doesn't waste pain, He turns victims into warriors." Outside, the sun was setting over Lagos. Inside the church office, two friends sat drinking tea, thanking God for the truth that sets people free. This wasn't just Rebecca's story anymore. It had become a lesson for churches everywhere. Sometimes God uses our worst pain to help others. And that's exactly what God did with Rebecca's story.